Well, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 20 of This Week in Geek. Today is a solo show. I am not joined today by my co-host Zach Pope. He's out having fun at San Diego Comic-Con, enjoying all the panels on all the news in person. So today it's just you and me, a more intimate show, regardless of the thumbnail. New updates, new information has come out since I've put it up, but it's just a really cool thumbnail. I didn't want to take it down, and it still serves the purpose of this show, where we're going to preview all the news that may or may not come out on tonight's Marvel Studios Comic Con panel. First of all, my name is Ren Geekness. In case you're new to this show, welcome. Thank you so much for clicking on this video, and hello to everyone, good friends, old and new in the live chat. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here so early. I'm assuming it's early for a lot of you over in America/Canada, over on the far left side of Europe. Thank you for joining me. In case you don't know how this show works, we're going to start the show by giving a weekly ranking. That's where we pick up everything that we've watched throughout the week and rank them from worst to best. I'm going to give you my weekly ranking. I'm going to give everyone else's weekly ranking that you type into the chat. After that, I'm going to discuss briefly, as it's just me, so there's not really anyone to bounce off of on camera. I'm going to discuss a little bit of what I like to see, what I think we'll see tonight on the Marvel Studios panel, and after that, we're going to go into your questions that you can type in on the community tab. There's a big image of the thumbnail of this video, and you can type in your question there. Or if you want to, if you can support the channel, there's a tip link and a super chat available for you to directly support the channel as you ask your great questions. So without any further ado, let's start with our weekly rankings. And honestly, guys, I did not watch too much that I can rank this week because I've been binging through all the Dragon Ball movies. So I've just been consistently watching them. Yesterday, I've recorded 5 reviews for 5 of the Dragon Ball movies, and today I've just recorded 2 more. I'm taking notes on the 8th film in the franchise, and we'll probably record all the rest of the reviews tomorrow because this week is very busy for me. I have a screening on Monday, I have a screening on Tuesday, I have a screening on Wednesday. On Thursday, I fly over to Portugal, and then I'm taking a week off. So next week, there won't be a show. Probably 2 weeks from now, there won't be a show as well. But for sure, next week, there will not be a show, a This Week in Geek show, because I'm going on holiday with some friends. And I also, even if I wanted to do the show from there, I have no internet access in that house, unfortunately. Nevertheless, my weekly ranking. And my weekly ranking actually starts with, at the very bottom, the very first Dragon Ball movie, which I reviewed on the channel. In case you haven't seen it, go check it out. Those reviews really need support because they're doing very shittily. So in case you haven't seen them, please click on those videos. And that is Dragon Ball The Legend of Shenron, or Dragon Ball Curse of the Blood Rubies if you're a fan of the dub. This film really sucks. This was the first ever Dragon Ball movie put out there, and it's quite bad. It's actually one I had never seen before. I just watched for the first time for the purposes of this review series, and I really did not like it. Over that, I'm going to have Where the Crawdads Sing. Finally watched this one. Didn't do a video review, but there's a full review for it over on Letterboxd. A written review that you can read very briefly. This one was very middle of the road. I really loved Daisy Edgar Jones on it, but I felt the film never really clicked into gear, never really found its footing, and wasn't really clear in the messaging it wanted to bring across. So I was disappointed by this one, but I found the performances to be strong. Everything else was just very competent, and that's really it. Over that, I'm going to have the third and final classic Dragon Ball movie, and that is Dragon Ball Mystical Adventure. This film had a lot to cram into its 45 minutes runtime, and it does an impressive job. Like, I talk about it in my review, but if you really look at everything from the anime, from the manga that it had to bring onto these 45 minutes, this film does an impressive job at laying an original foundation for it, for the story that it wants to tell, but bringing in all these different elements and somewhat combining them rather well. Over that, I'm going to have Green Lantern, Beware My Power. This is the latest DC animated film set in the continuity of what is now known as the Tomorrowverse, which is a really cool name, but I don't know how it makes sense because there's a vagueness about what this universe is thematically about. The first animated Green Lantern film featuring Jon Stewart as the lead role. The previous two Green Lantern films were really good, actually. First Flight and Emerald Knights, in case you haven't seen them, were with Al Jordan. This one, Jon Stewart, and it's solid. It starts off really well. It has a really fun middle, but then it kind of dies down a bit into the third act. And while it has the most fun with the third act, because the film kind of plays itself like a mystery, it just feels like it's cramming in two gigantic stories from the comics and blending them into a 90-minute runtime. I'm glad they were given 90 minutes. These films are usually around the 75, 80 minutes. I'm glad it had that extra 10 minutes, but still, it had those extra 10 minutes, but it also had two gigantic events that it was adapting into its runtime. And at number one, Dragon Ball Sleeping Princess in Devil's Castle. This was a childhood favorite of mine, and it's actually one of those films that you not only like as a kid, it holds up so well right now. It's so much fun. It's so charming. It has these creepy, atmospheric horror elements, and it's so much of what I love about Dragon Ball. It's nothing impressive. It has a lot of issues. It still rushes through its runtime. It's still just a fun adventure with nothing really underneath the surface. But what it wanted to deliver, it did it in spades. So that is my number one this week. All right. Let's go into your weekly rankings, my friends. We start with Nathan Holton. Weekly ranking number one, Where the Crawdads Sing. So someone liked it. I'm glad it worked for you, my friend. Number two, Friends, the entire show in 1 week. That is impressive. Number three, Les Mis. I'm wondering if you watched the musical from 2012 or that semi-recent film that is called Les Mis but has nothing to do with the musical that came out 2 years ago. I think it's from 2019. Well, 3 years if it's 2019, but I think it is 2019. Number four, We Own the City. That's a show, but I don't know what it is. Number five, Paws of Fury, which I've not seen and don't plan on seeing it. And The Gray Man in last place. I'm sorry you didn't enjoy that one, man. It very much worked for me, but sorry to hear it's in your last place. Tony Movie Chappie, weekly ranking. Number five, The Fantastic Four. Number four, The Dropout. Just an amazing mini-series. Number three, Satanic Panic. Number two, We Are Marshall. And number one, Masterpiece of Steel. There you go. That's a good rewatch to have. Thank you for sharing. Eric Thorpe. Number one, Westworld Season 4, Episode 4. I finally caught up. Really good episode. Number two, Love and Thunder. Fuck yes, number two. Number three, The Gray Man. Number four, The Sea Beast. Number five, The Flash, Season 5, Episode 11. Every now and then I pick up where I left off with CW and remember why it's shit. I liked Season 5 still quite a lot. It's really in Season 4 of The Flash was utter garbage. I still think to this day Season 4 of The Flash is the worst out of the seasons of The Flash. But I liked Season 5 quite a lot. I think Season 5 got a little bit back on its feet. It wasn't great, but I thought it was rather solid. Let's see if I missed anything between you and Chico VP. No, I don't think I did. All right, Chico VP. My weekly rank, number 8, The Gray Man. Pretty average for me. That's fair. Number 2, Nope. By the way, no Nope questions. I haven't seen it. It's not available in the UK. I won't be seeing it for a while, so no Nope questions. I won't answer any Nope questions. I made Chico EP and Eric Thorpe moderators just because I knew I was going to be alone, and I had to think, like, who is always on the show? And off the top of my head, I remember Chico EP and Eric Thorpe. So if anyone that I might have forgotten, if you are always on the show, let me know, and I can make you a moderator if you're interested, if you're up for that responsibility in case there are any trolls or anything. I just remembered now that I made you guys moderators. But yeah, if you see any Nope questions, don't necessarily block the user unless they're outright spoiling it for me or anyone, but just point it out for them that there should be no Nope questions, no Nope spoilers, Nope questions people can ask. I just won't be able to answer. So yeah. Nope. Number 6, Us. Still like it, but doesn't hold up on a rewatch. I was disappointed by Us. I think it's solid. I think it's good. But yeah, it's fine. There's just a lot of plot holes that it opens up by the end. Number 5, The Orville New Horizons episode 8. Still haven't seen this week's episode. Number 4, Under the Banner of Heaven. Solid miniseries with Andrew Garfield. Also haven't seen it. Only Murders in the Building, episode 5. This week's episode was really good. Number 2, Dope Sick, episodes 1 through 3, really good so far. Number 1, Get Out, still fantastic. The better of the Jordan Peele movies, as someone who has just seen 2 of them. Luis Feliciano, and I love the Red Guardian picture. Number 6, Car Wash, 1976. Never heard of this. The Drop. Number 5, The Drop, the one with Tom Hardy and James Gandolfini, I'm assuming. Number 4, Enough Said, also James Gandolfini and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Number 3, The Accused. I've never heard of this. Number 2, True Romance. And number 1, Ghost, with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore. Luis Feliciano, weekly ranking. Number 6, Predators. Number 5, Elvis. Number 4, No Way Home. Number 3, Civil War. Number 2, Men of Steel. And number 1, Fellowship of the Ring. This was a pretty good week for you, and I think I agree with you. I mean, well, I don't. I would put Fellowship of the Ring at number 4, and then number 3 would be No Way Home. And I'm not sure what I put first, Civil War or Man of Steel, because they are both brilliant. But yeah, that you watched no bad movies as far as I'm concerned. Predators is severely underrated. So thank you for sharing that. Jack Alexander, number 1, RRR. Number 2, A Quiet Place Part 2 rewatch. Number 3, Lamb. Number 4, Thor: Love and Thunder. Number 5, The Black Phone. Number 6, Shakespeare in Love. Number 7, Ms. Marvel, episode 5 and 6. Number 8, Oasis Supersonic. And number 9, Strictly Ballroom. I still have to see Strictly Ballroom because that's the only Baz Luhrmann film I've never seen. For some reason, I don't know why, I just never caught it. But yeah, surprised it's on last place because I've heard wonderful things. But then again, it's also Baz Luhrmann, who's very polarizing. All right, everyone, that is it. That is it for your weekly ranking. Thank you all for sharing. Thank you all so much for sharing. And without any further ado, let's discuss what we might see tonight at Comic-Con. So I uploaded this picture as the thumbnail. It has Mr. Fantastic, it has Wolverine, it has Deadpool, and technically we have heard stuff about X-Men because yesterday was the Marvel Animation panel. We got our first look at X-Men 97. We got a little bit more details into Spider-Man Freshman Year. We finally got the context that it is a multiverse story because a ton of those villains, a ton of those suits, a ton of those characters, they don't belong in the MCU. So that's certainly not MCU canon as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, I like what we're seeing from Spider-Man Freshman Year. I love what we're seeing from X-Men 97. That is very exciting. We got brief glimpses at What If Season 2. People yesterday have seen the first episode of Season 2 of What If, and it is a continuation of Captain Carter from the first season of What If. We got glimpses at Marvel Zombies. We've seen characters who are going to be zombies, and that is Abomination and Ghost and Cap and Captain Marvel and Icarus. Icarus from Eternals is going to be a zombie. In terms of the heroes, we're going to have Ms. Marvel and Shang-Chi, Kate Bishop, Yelena. Jimmy Woo is going to be one of the heroes in Marvel Zombies in the show. And it's going to be TVMA, which is very interesting. The stories they've alluded to when it comes to What If Season 2 sound very exciting. One of them I'm very excited for is Tony Stark ends up on Sakaar with Hulk and Valkyrie instead of Thor. There's going to be a Hela story. There's an Odin versus the Mandarin story. I'm very excited for that one. And when it comes to X-Men 97, there's a still there that shows Magneto with his gorgeous slick back white hair and and Sleeveless Top. And that is straight out of Age of Apocalypse. If you guys have not read Age of Apocalypse, it's the greatest X-Men story ever written. So do go watch it, because this show is clearly giving us X-Men Age of Apocalypse. The designs are the same. It looks still like it's going to be to the animation. So I'm getting more and more excited for X-Men 97. That's coming out next year. What If is coming out early next year as well. Spider-Man Freshman Year is coming out in 2024, but it's already got greenlit for a second season, as well as X-Men 97. And Spider-Man, the second season, is going to be called Sophomore Year, which makes sense. I don't remember seeing a date or a general release for Marvel Zombies. I just remember seeing the characters and just remember seeing the characters, and it is going to be TVMA, which is interesting. Also, Daredevil is going to be in Spider-Man Freshman Year, and he's going to be voiced by Charlie Cox, which is really cool. In regards to tonight, however, we've heard that they're leaving all the big stuff, whatever the big stuff is, for D23, which is a smart play on Marvel, but at the same time, it raises the question, why are you coming to Comic-Con then? We've heard they're going to screen new updates, news on She-Hulk, and focus more on TV, as well as Marvel, as well as Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I'm sure we're going to get a trailer. Or we're going to get a delay. We could still get both, depending on when they delay it to. But all these rumors about who's playing who, what characters are going to be in the film, what direction the story is going to follow, they have a big opportunity to clear the air and tell us exactly what is going on after all those production issues. That I'm not here to blame anyone. We all know who was the cause of those production issues. I wouldn't say Black Panther Wakanda Forever is what I'm excited for at the moment, because of everything that I've heard. It's something I want to be excited for, don't get me wrong, and I hope whatever comes out tonight, tomorrow on my time, I wake up and I see all the news and I'm like, fuck yes, I'm excited for this now, finally. I hope I can get excited for this movie again. However, I'm very curious for She-Hulk. I've arranged to see She-Hulk early. I should have a review for you guys before the series comes out. And by the way, the screenings I have this week, on Monday, I'm watching DC League of Super Pets. Review is coming on Tuesday when embargo lifts. On Tuesday, I'm watching Prey, which I'm so excited for. I'm watching it on the big screen too. And Wednesday, I'm watching Bodies, 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 the new A24 horror comedy. I think it's a horror comedy. So I'm watching that, and then I'm not watching anything for a while. You're going to get those reviews, and then for a while you're just going to get Dragon Ball reviews, because I'm scheduling them to be up for the time I am on holiday, so the channel doesn't stop while I'm on holiday. I can still upload the videos remotely, so that's why I'm binging all of them, because I want to leave it all prepared. I want to record all of them in this setting right here before I move to the other setting, because then I won't be back here, for a while, because after going on holiday I have Venice, so I'm going directly from Portugal to Venice, and then from Venice I'll come back here, and we'll talk about Venice in a bit, because I've seen that you guys have questions about that. But yeah, tonight I hope they surprise us with something. Maybe reveal someone we didn't know was going to be in She-Hulk. Maybe reveal someone we didn't know was going to be in Marvel, in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Now that Ms. Marvel has ended, now that Ms. Marvel... By the way, feel free to ask spoiler questions for Thor: Love and Thunder and Ms. Marvel. Now those are open for discussion. Feel free to talk spoilers in the live chat. Feel free to talk spoilers if you want to ask a question. But yeah, I'm very excited for tonight. Now that Ms. Marvel is over, maybe they could announce Namor as a mutant. Maybe they could announce him as the first mutant, which is going to be very interesting. I'm just very, very, very curious. in seeing what comes out of this film, because I also don't think at this point they can afford to just release a trailer for the Comic-Con crowd. I think they gotta release it online, and I think whether this film was going well or not, that they would release this big a trailer for everyone to see. But in this specific situation, more so, releasing this trailer just for the Comic-Con crowd would be a big mistake. So I hope we see something else. Maybe we don't get the reveals of castings of directors and such, but maybe we just get a logo reveal for something, because we've seen the trademarks that they've put out. Avengers Kang Dynasty has been trademarked. Secret Wars has been trademarked. New World Order for Captain America has been trademarked. I think they can afford to give us, let's say they give us She-Hulk, they give us Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and they give us Captain America 4. And maybe 1 or 2 logos for one TV show, one movie. But then leave the big stuff, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, whatever other movies are coming, Guardians 3 and all that, for D23. I think they still have enough material to give a big panel tonight and still leave the big stuff for D23. So I don't think tonight it's going to be a bare bones presentation, because again, why would you go to Comic-Con? Because you can say, well, they already had the Marvel animation. They wanted to get that out of the way at Comic-Con so they can handle the big stuff at D23. Yes, but then that's a very small panel. It was not at Hall H, and it was handled on a different day. So they're handling it as 2 different things. So the Marvel Studios panel still has to deliver something. And you can argue Wakanda Forever is big in itself, but with all its problems, I hope we do get a huge announcement. Like, they have so many things to announce. They can just drop a logo of a movie we didn't know was coming, and then just talk directors and writers and cast at D23. Kevin Feige can get there and say, hey, Secret Wars is coming, and that's it. Join us in 2 months at D23 to know more. That's how you do it. That's good marketing. It will be frustrating for the people who are there, and that's the exact thing. You still got to give something to the people who are there, because you and I, we're watching this from our homes. We're just waiting for the news to drop on Twitter. It's all the same to us, whether it comes tonight or on D23. We just have to wait a little bit longer. But for the people who are there, they still have to deliver. They still have to send those people home happy. So again, it's not for me or for you. I mean, if we're disappointed tonight, 2 months from now, it's still D23, and we're going to be in our homes waiting for the news to drop on Twitter all the same. It's for the people who go there specifically for these events that they have to satisfy. Not so much us, but them. So those are my thoughts. That's what I expect tonight. And yeah, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, with that out of the way, let's move on to your questions, which again, you can leave them on the community tab underneath the picture of this thumbnail, or you can actively support the channel while you ask great questions by going through the tip link and the super chat link in the description. Without any further ado, let's do this. Master of Gaming, what are your thoughts on the trailer for Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves? It's fine. I expected more, because I've heard they're really leaning into a Monty Python kind of tone, and I didn't really see that at all in the trailer. I saw a fun enough but generic fantasy film. Fantasy is my favorite genre, so I'm going to enjoy it to some level, but I wish there was some more to distinguish it. The cast looks fun. Sophia Lillis, I'm glad to see her again. She transforms into a bear owl or owl bear at one point, and that looks cool. But apart from that, not really anything big to take away. And I come into this film, I've never played Dungeons and Dragons. It's never appealed to me, so I don't really know the lore of anything. I'm just looking at this as a fantasy film, and I want to really enjoy it, because fantasy is my favorite genre. But the trailer in itself disappointed me, so I hope the film is better than the trailer. Before we move on, let me just get my water, because I'm really dying to get some drink, because like I told you, I've been recording several reviews per day for the past few days, so my voice is struggling. All right, I'm back. It was really fast. Lady Aaron asks, is there any Marvel announcements that you don't want to get announced at the panel later on or not? I can't think of anything. I guess I wouldn't want them to announce that Squirrel Girl is going to be the new leader of the Avengers in the MCU. But outside of that, nothing really comes to mind that I specifically don't want them. Well, I don't want them to announce a casting for Nova, because I want to play Nova. I want to play that character real bad, guys. You have no idea. Master of Gaming, which Hasbro film are you looking forward to more? Transformers: Rise of the Beasts or Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves? Yeah, Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, because I grew up with Beast Wars and Dungeons and Dragons. Again, I'm not a fan. I'm indifferent to it. I'm not against it. I'm just indifferent to the IP. But Transformers, a lot of Transformers movies have disappointed me, but this is being done by Steve Caple Jr. And like I said, I grew up with Beast Wars, so this is exciting, and it's enough of a change on the Transformers formula that we've seen so far. Lady Aaron, Ren, congrats on going to the Venice Film Festival for the first time. Thank you so much. It's very exciting. I've already arranged for my accommodation. I'm going with friends, and yeah, now just waiting for the program to be announced on Monday, fully announced, because some things have already come out. What are you most looking forward to from the festival? Any movies that you are hyped to see there, and will you do anything special while you're there? Well, doing anything special, I guess just hanging out with my friends, watching movies, and going to Venice for the first time as a whole. Any movies that I'm hyped to see? Well, Blonde is opening the festival, so I'm excited for that. Don't Worry, Darling is also going there. And Luca Guadagnino's new film with Timothée Chalamet and Taylor Russell is going to be there. And there was one more that I can't remember what it is right now, but the program fully will only be announced on Monday, so that's when I'll get an idea of what I really want to see. But those three right now I'm very excited for. All right. Eric Thorpe, thoughts on the latest trailers for House of the Dragon and Rings of Power, since each released new ones for SDCC. I stand by House of the Dragon looks better. I didn't see the Rings of Power one that released yesterday. At this point, I've seen enough, so I don't need to watch anymore. Besides, it's a 3-minute fucking trailer. I don't need that. House of the Dragon, we finally got the full first trailer for House of the Dragon. I think it looks really good. I'm a Targaryen guy. Targaryen is my favorite family in Game of Thrones. And while this one still has the massive scope of Game of Thrones, the story itself, the narrative, and the themes that it's tackling feel more intimate, as this is just an inner family drama. It's just one family with this inner struggle of loyalty, fathers and sons and heirs. Very Lion King reminiscent, and I say that as the highest compliment I can. Really enjoy that one. I'm very happy to finally see Matt Smith in a blockbuster production that doesn't look like shit, because he deserves it. And I hope soon enough he gets to play a hero again, but I really like seeing Matt Smith as a villain, and I hope he gets some meat to chew on as an actor in this role. Lady Aaron, what are your thoughts on the new Halloween Ends movie trailer? Do you think it will live up to expectations, or will it end up being disappointing in every aspect? I mean, it depends on the expectations. I expected to disappoint already, so it probably will live up to expectations. I posted my thoughts on Twitter. It's fine. It's Halloween. Again, it's a long tracking shot with the music playing, with Laurie Strode pointing her gun at Michael Myers, with Michael Myers fighting against Laurie Strode, chasing her, a couple of screams. It's a Halloween movie, that's for sure. But I didn't really take too much away from it, unfortunately. And I've been disappointed by the two previous ones. Halloween 2018 was okay. I was disappointed because my expectations were actually high. I thought the trailer looked great. The idea was great. And the film is fine. Perfectly watchable. It's okay. Overall, I'd give it a thumbs up, just not a very strong thumbs up. And then Halloween Kills was garbage, I think. So I don't really have my hopes up for this one. Lady Aaron, are you guys excited that Dune Part 2 is now currently in production? I think we talked about this a few weeks ago, but yeah, very excited. It's probably my most anticipated movie next year. Lady Aaron, what, in your opinion, is the best Comic-Con announcement ever and the worst Comic-Con announcement ever, and why? No idea. I don't keep those off the top of my head. Plus, I don't really watch the panels. Like, I never go to Comic-Con, so I don't watch the panels. I just stay home and I see the news as they drop on Twitter. But yeah, I don't keep like the idea of best announcements ever off the top of my head. I will say the best moment in Comic-Con ever is probably Tom Hiddleston dressed as Loki on stage yelling, "Say my name!" and then having everyone shut up as he shushes them. That was fun. Lady Aaron, what are some of your favorite Well, there you go. Comic-Con panels of all time, some of your least favorites. Again, I don't watch the panels themselves. If I ever go to Comic-Con in person, that's when I'll watch the panels. But I'm not watching the panels while I'm at home, honestly. Lady Aaron, Ren, since I know we are both excited for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet to come out in November, how are you feeling about possible leaks coming out that's presumably for the game? If you have looked at these leaks, which I have no idea what they're about, do you think they're real or do you not trust them? Again, no idea. When it comes to movie leaks, I can investigate if they're real or not because I know my sources. I know who to ask. I know when movies are shooting, where they are shooting. I know certain details before productions start. When it comes to Pokemon leaks, I'm not too much into the community. I'm not hardcore into the community, so I wouldn't even know which leakers to trust and which leakers not to trust. And I haven't even seen these leaks you're talking about. But it's about that time that they start showing us evolutions. So leaks or not, just put the images out there. All right, Lady Aaron, what are some of the saddest video game deaths ever in your opinion that is not from the Last of Us games? Well, I'm not a gamer, like I've said before. I'm not a hardcore gamer, like I said before. So the only one that comes to mind is Kratos' wife and daughter from the original God of War trilogy, and Aunt May from the Spider-Man PS4 game. Other than that, I don't think there's a ton of deaths that you are supposed to feel sad for in the games I play, honestly. Not in the Assassin's Creed games. There's not really much there. I mean, if you want to count the Naruto games that essentially play out the story of the anime, when it comes to Itachi's death or Jiraiya's death, that hits the spot emotionally. But yeah. Lady Aaron, what are your thoughts on the official House of the Dragon trailer we got? I talked about that. Does it make you even more excited or more worried about this upcoming show? Oh, excited. Very, very excited. Very excited. Lady Aaron, what are your thoughts on the first official poster for Oppenheimer that we got? Simple, to the point, and perfectly illustrates what the film is about this tiny man playing God with this giant instrument of destruction. Really, really fun poster. Joe Fletcher, will the GOAT, the greatest live-action superhero, the God amongst men, Henry Cavill, return to us as Superman at Comic-Con and announce his future as Superman? If so, how will you guys react to this news? Okay. You guys know that sometimes I know inside information that I can't reveal on this show. I sometimes tease you about it, say, look out for some. I wish I had any inside information in regards to this. But from a personal gut feeling, from what I've seen on Twitter, from what I've seen The Rock talking about on interviews, I think he's preparing. I think The Rock is cooking something, and the smell leads me to believe that in some way, shape, or form, Henry Cavill is coming back. Maybe he's not coming back for Black Adam, but maybe they're announcing Superman versus Black Adam, or Black Adam 2, Superman's Electric Boogaloo, and his return. I wish I had any inside information. I wish I could say yes. I wish I could say you do definitely want to watch the Black Adam panel tomorrow or whenever that is coming up. But you know how I'll react. I've coined the term masterpiece of steel. So you guys know I'll be screaming and jumping on my couch, happy as I can be, and I will care for nothing else other than talking about the return of the greatest Superman of all time, as you put it, the GOAT, Joe Fletcher. We deserve it. We've suffered enough. We suffered through a pandemic. We're still suffering through a pandemic. We've been waiting for 9 fucking years. Give us. And by the time, if they announce it, the film will probably only come out next year. So it'll be 10 years since Man of Steel. So Black Adam versus the Man of Steel. I cannot wait for that. I cannot wait for that if it happens. And I hope it happens, man. I really hope it happens. Gico EP, do you guys think we're setting ourselves up for disappointment for the Marvel panel wait, for the Marvel panel with all the reports about it saying there might just only show stuff for She-Hulk and Wakanda Forever and save the rest for D23? Well, we talked a little bit about this. I don't think we're setting ourselves up for disappointment because they announced last minute after announcing that there was going to be a 23. Hey, we're still going to Comic-Con. So right then and there, you're not wrong to assume that, oh shit, if they're coming to Comic-Con, they have something special planned. And by all we know, the stuff they announced for She-Hulk and Wakanda Forever is big enough to hold Comic-Con. I don't think it is, but for all we know, it is. But them coming to Comic-Con, choosing to come to Comic-Con on the same year they have D23, I don't think we're setting ourselves up for disappointment because they haven't negated or confirmed anything official. We've had all these rumors. We've had all these leaks of information that we're not sure it's real until tonight. But because they haven't announced officially anything, one is safe to assume, one is safe to speculate. Just don't let your speculation become expectations. I think then it's when people set themselves up for disappointment. So it's not Marvel's fault, it's not Comic-Con's fault, it's people's fault. But at the same time, they haven't officially negated or confirmed anything. So one is safe to assume, because in this context of them coming to Comic-Con, when 2 months from now, you have D23, and you don't need Comic-Con. So why are you coming to Comic-Con? That's the thing. Why are they coming to Comic-Con if they're not going to drop a bomb? Not literally. You know what I mean. Moving on. Joe Fletcher. What MCU project are you guys most excited for? I'm getting more and more excited for Secret Invasion, man. Certain things that I've been hearing about it, I'm getting more and more excited for Secret Invasion. What else that they've officially? I mean, it's not officially announced. X-Men '97 is what I'm very excited for. But right now we're just counting down the seconds, tick tock on an official X-Men announcement, an official Fantastic Four announcement. So it's not one of those that is official, but at this point we're just ticking down the seconds till it is. So those are a few of the ones for me. Gico EP, have you guys noticed a trend recently based on this year and last year on how whenever a new film comes out, it receives divisive reactions? Last year, films like Eternals, Don't Look Up, Matrix Resurrections, Last Night in Soho, and now this year, Multiverse of Madness, Love and Thunder, Men, and now Nope. Well, I haven't seen the reception for Nope, so I'm kind of surprised it's being mixed received. I don't know, because those are good examples, but then you have 1,000 films that received unanimous either negative or positive reception. So it's not a bad list to have. It's interesting that these tentpole films were received. Well, Men isn't really a tentpole film, and Last Night in Soho, unfortunately, wasn't a tentpole film. But in general, Eternals, Don't Look Up, Matrix Resurrections, Love and Thunder, Nope, Multiverse of Madness, those are tentpole films. But again, it's a good list, and it starts to be an interesting collection of films that, all of these had mixed reactions, but then you have 1,000 other films that didn't. Shang-Chi, Spider-Man No Way Home, The Batman, The Northman, and so many others. But I don't know. I still think the majority of films are overall, I'm sure there are exceptions within them, but either unanimously, mostly negatively, or mostly positively received. So it's something to keep our eye on, but at this point, I still think the average edges out that it just happened with those. They just happen to be tentpole films, which is interesting. Joe Fletcher, which franchise do you guys prefer? Harry Potter, including the Fantastic Beasts films, or the Lord of the Rings franchise, including the Hobbit films? Ooh. I grew up with both these franchises. Well, Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. Damn. It's tough because I might prefer a single film in the Lord of the Rings franchise, but overall I just connect more to the characters and the themes of the Harry Potter franchise. And the Lord of the Rings franchise, including The Hobbit, also has the worst film out of both franchises in The Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies. Crimes of Grindelwald is not too far from it, but still, I think the worst out of all those is still Battle of the Five Armies. All right. Up next, we got Jico EP. I've seen this question asked on the John Campia, but do you guys think the MCU right now really misses Iron Man and Cap? Or to put it more clearly, they need a main flagship character to be the lead of the MCU going forward? I will agree with that. I don't think they necessarily miss Iron Man and Cap specifically. I think a lot of fans miss Iron Man and Cap specifically. I sure miss Cap. Which I don't know if I showed you guys. Hang on. Speaking of Cap, I got a hot toy Captain America. I'm not sure if I ever showed you guys, but yeah, I got a hot toy Captain America from Avengers Endgame. He comes with a broken shield, or the entire shield. There's two shields and Mjolnir. So yeah, I wanted to show that because it's my favorite character in the MCU from my favorite movie. So yeah. All right. After that unnecessary and irrelevant caveat, I think they need to establish clearly a flagship character. I think Doctor Strange could be it. I think Thor could be it. And I think we're naturally gravitating towards those because we've known them for the longest. Thor practically has been there since the beginning, from the third MCU movie. But yeah, I think the films themselves need to establish, because right now we're bringing so many new characters, which is fine. We're expanding, and that's what it needs to do. But yeah, I think the films themselves need to establish, like, who is the leader? Is it Sam Wilson? Is it Carol Danvers? Is it Doctor Strange? Is it Thor? Like, is anyone? Is it Wong? Make Wong the flagship character of the MCU. That's what the people are clamoring for. That's who should be the leader of the MCU, really. All right. Jico EP. What is your guys' definition of a good actor? Some people will say it's someone who has a lot of range and can play different characters. It's one of the things that can make you a good actor. And that if you play the same character in every movie you're in, then they think that's a bad actor. But really, I think there's two types of talented actors: one who can go outside their range and one who can work well in their range. Just depends on the material and direction. I think a good actor, and maybe this is too much inside baseball, because I took a film education. I have a master's in film directing. To me, a good actor is someone who can take direction. Whether they end up playing the same character in every movie, whether they have range, it's someone who can listen to their director and, perhaps most importantly, listen to their partners in a scene. Because a lot of actors will tell you acting is really reacting. It's about bringing genuine emotions and reactions across. So as an actor, you shouldn't just be waiting for the person to finish their line so you can bring yours out. You should have a genuine conversation. So a good actor, to me, again, whether you end up playing the same character over and over, whether you have incredible range, it's someone who can make anything on a page, one way or another, feel natural, who can take words from a page, dialogue, and make them feel like it's another person bringing those words to life that feel like they're coming out of that person's mouth, not necessarily from a page that you memorize to say or to spout out whenever the director, or in this case the first AD, says an action. To me, an actor is someone who can genuinely react to the fictional world created around them. Maybe that's too cheesy, maybe that's too inside baseball, but yeah, that's my opinion. Gigo EP also asks, the trailer for Dungeons & Dragons looks surprisingly cool, but how much you want to bet that it might be just as bad as the 2000s movie with Marlon Wayans and Jeremy Irons? I don't know. In terms of special effects, it already looks miles better, so at least it has that going for it. So I don't think it will be as bad, but I hope it's better. I mean, it doesn't have to try too hard to be better. And even by the way it looked, I was impressed by the trailer, but it looks better already. It looks fun. It has a certain charm to it because the cast is so charismatic, but I think the film itself needs to do more than that. So yeah, I wouldn't be willing to bet, but I would bet it's already a tad bit better with just a trailer. Jigo P, how do you guys feel about the announcement about them doing an Avatar movie about the gang? Oh, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Okay. The announcement of an Avatar movie with a gang as young adults. I'm hyped. I'm hyped too. I'm really hyped. I hope we get a core movie. I hope we get a movie based on The Promise, which is the gang's quest after the original series, going to find Zuko's mother. It's a heartbreaking story. If you haven't read it, there's a comic book about it. Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Promise, and then The Search. Go look those up and get your read on. Jigo EP, since I know y'all love Love and Thunder, what do you guys think of this reasoning that explains why some people say it's too goofy and jokey for them, that it was from the perspective of Korg? I've seen this one since it started after the Marvel logo and ended with him narrating, and he does have an exaggerated mind. It's a fun perspective, but I don't really buy it because it's not Korg's story. And if it was, like, why would you tell a Thor movie from Korg's perspective? It's kind of a worst version of what Elvis did, telling the story of Elvis and sometimes presenting it across as from the perspective of Tom Parker, of the Colonel. I don't buy it. It's a fun perspective, and there are moments that you're like, huh. But overall, I think it's just impartial, and then it works as Korg's emissary, because then there are moments where Korg is not present at all, and he's not present in eternity, he's not present in the entirety of the final battle. So I don't think he is. I just think he goes on adventures with Thor, and he does tell his truth. Those moments of narration are Korg's perspective, but for the things he was there to witness, because even that narration at the end is much more serious than the rest of the film. If you notice, I've seen the film 4 times at this point, so I'm going to notice those things as someone who loved it. But I think it's a fun perspective. I think it's a fun concept, but I don't really buy it. Or at least I don't think Taika Waititi actually did the film like, ooh, this is all going to be from Korg's perspective, blah, blah. All right. Jigo EP, what is a film you were actually surprised you like from a director you think is overrated? I don't think it's too fair, because this director only had one movie in his repertoire by that point. But I was surprised how much I actually liked Midsommar. But then again, I never thought the problems with Hereditary was the direction. I wasn't too hyped for Game Night at the time, because the directors had only ever done Vacation in 2015, and Game Night was awesome. So that's one. What else? Did I have any other? That's a really good question. Did I have any others in recent memory? Let me take a look. The Russos. No, the Russos I liked a lot. No, Baz Luhrmann I liked. Colin Trevorrow. Colin Trevorrow took downhill because I liked the first movie I saw from him, and then after that, nothing. That's a really good question, and I have no idea. I don't think I have an example to give outside of Midsommar after Hereditary. Yes, the directors of Game Night are doing Dungeons and Dragons, which is why I haven't lost hope completely. But the trailer itself, was just fine for me. Nope. Deep Water was exactly the opposite of what you are asking. I don't have. That's a really good question, but I don't think I have an example off the top of my head in recent memory. Just looking at this, you know what? For how much I liked Uncharted, it was actually impressive, given that it was Ruben Fleischer, and Uncharted isn't anything special really, but yeah, I liked Uncharted more than I expected. Hang on. Where are we? Overrated. GWP, with Deadpool 1 and 2 and Logan now being on Disney Plus and Marvel Zombies being rated TVMA, do you think Marvel is now allowing more mature or violent content in the universe? Yes, but not because of the presence of Deadpool 1 and 2 and Logan, because for those who know, over here in Europe, and I believe most international territories, Deadpool 1 and 2, Logan, they've been on Disney Plus for years now. I think they've been on Disney Plus since it was launched here. So I saw throughout the week, like, oh, all these movies are on Disney Plus now, and I'm over here in Europe going, we've had these movies on Disney Plus for the longest time. So yeah, I think they're opening it up because they are bringing Deadpool 3, which is going to be rated R, into the universe. But I don't think the Deadpool 1 and 2 and Logan being there are what opens these doors. Because again, over here, they've been on there for the longest time. GWP, this probably won't happen, but would you... but how would you guys react if they announced another Harley Quinn movie with Margot Robbie, but only her... but only her and not with the Birds of Prey or Suicide Squad? Oh, I'd be very excited. You guys know I love Margot Robbie as a person, as an actress. I think she's amazingly talented. She's phenomenal. She's a very smart actor, a very smart producer, a very smart person, period. So I'll be very excited because she's incredible. And Harley Quinn is my favorite female comic book character of all time. She's my favorite, probably my third favorite DC character after Batman and Joker. Yeah, I don't think I prefer anyone else to Harley. I prefer Harley Quinn to Jason Todd. And I do love Jason Todd. I do love the Red Hood. But yeah, I'll be very, 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 very excited, my friend. Very excited. GGOP, guys, I saw Cinema Wins' two-part video about Eternals. Highly recommend Cinema Wins. He's amazing. I love his videos, which I recommend checking it out. And he talked about, I haven't seen his Eternals two-parter, by the way. And he talked about how even though he felt the movie should have been a series with all the mythology and this amount of characters, he did say that it does get better on multiple viewings, though I know Austin Burke said it gets worse the more he thinks about it, though he still likes it. And it gets better multiple viewings, says Ren Geekness as well. So that's two people saying it gets better with multiple viewings. And then it might get better appreciation over the years. I know Zach might agree with that part, but do you guys think it will receive cult following and that we might see more of Eternals in the future despite the reception? We're definitely seeing more of Eternals. I believe sooner rather than later. And I don't think it will receive a cult following because I think it is inherently too big for a cult following. It's an MCU movie. It might develop a cult appreciation. That's maybe the better way of putting it. But I think it's just inherently, by default, too big to be a cult movie in any regard. But I'm glad someone else appreciates Eternals and thinks it gets better with every viewing, because I'm like that. I adore this film. I didn't like it as much as I wanted to, because if you guys were around for that, you remember that at the time I was like, this movie is my most anticipated movie out of any MCU project that we have announced so far for Phase 4. And it wasn't even my favorite comic book movie of the year. It wasn't even my second favorite comic book movie of the year. But you guys know I really, really love the Eternals. So yeah, I hope through the years, more people realize that cinema wins, and Ren Geekness were there from the beginning saying this movie gets better on repeat watches. All right. Gigo EP, favorite characters in Phase 4 so far? I'm going to assume you only mean new characters, because Thor has been in Phase 4, Doctor Strange has been in Phase 4, but those characters we knew from before, so I'm just going to hopefully safely assume that you only mean new characters. Icarus is dead, so Shang-Chi, definitely one of my favorites. Shang-Chi, my God, why am I blanking? The Funko, Moon Knight. Yes, I got my Moon Knight Funkos finally. Mark Spector / Stephen Grant, Shang-Chi. I like Elena. I don't know if Elena would be like, this isn't a top 3 or anything, but just off the top of my head, I love Elena a lot. From the Eternal, Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan, my God, in great part due to Iman Vellani, but she's wonderful. Those are probably my top 3. Would be Shang-Chi, Stephen Grant / Mark Spector, and Kamala Khan. Yeah. Yes, I saw Zombie Icarus. I have the Funko Pop over there. Not of the zombie one, but he's right. Any of the other Eternals? Well, Makari and Thena are fantastic. Any other characters? I mean, Wanda was already here, so she's not a Phase 4 character. More Funkos to help me figure out what I loved. Sylvie. She's technically a Loki, but she counts. And the one who remains, Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors as the one who remains. So that's the top 5. Shang-Chi, Moon Knight, Kamala Khan, Sylvie, He Who Remains, and Yelena. Those are my top 6. GGOP, for DC, would it be cool if James Gunn also came out to announce Peacemaker Season 2? If that's the only thing he announces, no, not really, because we know it's coming. So if he comes out and announces Peacemaker Season 2 is coming, and here's these 4 characters that are being added to the show, and here are the 4 actors who are playing them. Excuse me, I have a package being delivered. Let me just... Hello, everyone. We're back. I apologize for that. Just had to get a package, which is coincidentally more Moon Knight Funko Pops that I just got, because I had to order them from a different place. So where was I? Yes. So if James Gunn only comes out and announces Peacemaker Season 2, I mean, we know that. We knew that was coming already, so it won't be that big a thing. But if he announces a cast and new characters for the show, maybe announces where the show is headed in terms of story. But yeah, I think we're in for a treat. Jico EP, from your guys' perspective, what is fan casting to you? For me, when I fan cast, I want it to be on the point of view of a casting director and just actors based on previous roles they've done and see if they have the traits to pull it off. I pretty much agree. It's not just that, it's also then if you're casting multiple people, if you have an ensemble cast, if you're doing a Fantastic Four fan cast, if you're doing an X-Men fan cast, you want to think of actors who you believe have good chemistry with one another. So it's not just that you have to cast these actors. I think these actors fit in these roles. You have to cast actors that you think will bounce off well with one another. So that's why a lot of times people tend to fall back into the comfortable place of, I've seen these two actors work together before. They'd be great as this on screen, as Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm, which I'm certainly guilty of. And John Krasinski and Emily Blunt would be amazing as Mr. Fantastic, as Sue Storm. So yeah, that's what I look for. I want to look at someone who would believably play the role. Like, I'm sure Samuel L. Jackson would be an incredible Blade, but number one, he's someone who's already in the MCU, and the guy is 70. Back in the 70s, back in the 80s, he would be an incredible Blade, but he wouldn't be an incredible Blade right now. So yeah. Nathan Holton, thoughts on the Crawdad Sing? I thought it was amazing. Number 11 of the year on rewatch, maybe top 10. I want Daisy Edgar Jones in more films. In regards to my thoughts, already talked about it. There's a full review on Letterboxd, on my Letterboxd. Follow me at Ren Geekness. There's a link in the description. But I unfortunately wasn't too impressed, but I'm glad it worked for you. Nathan Holton also asks, thoughts on the John Wick 4 teaser? Those of you who follow me for a while, you know, I'm a massive John Wick fan. This is my action franchise. I cannot wait for this film. I still feel butthurt that we got delayed a year. I still feel butthurt that The Matrix got to our eyes, painfully so, before John Wick 4. This teaser is sensational. It gives me exactly what I want from a teaser. It gives me exactly all the John Wickness. The cinematography in this looks lush. The action choreography still out of this world. I cannot wait for this film, and knowing this isn't the last one, knowing there's a second one to what I want to say, to come out soon after, that we won't have to wait too terribly long for part 5 as they shot them back to back. Dude, I'm so fucking excited. And in case you haven't seen my John Wick fan film, go to my channel and search for my John Wick 2 review. And I uploaded a fan film with that review. They're all in just one video, but the video, I believe, starts with my fan film where I play John Wick. So in case you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's called Baba Yaga. All right. Nathan Holton, do you think the Expendables 4 and Creed 3 will still release this year? Expendables 4, not really. Creed 3, I still think, yeah, because we've talked about that for a while. We've known they've been shooting, and I believe they've wrapped Avengers. Expendables 4, I haven't heard anything before or since CinemaCon. When those posters and banners were photographed at CinemaCon, I remember like, oh, that's right, there's an Expendables 4 coming. But since then, or before then, I haven't heard shit about Expendables 4. So I don't know if we're seeing that this year. But Creed 3, I'm still pretty confident we are seeing that near the end of the year. Let me just get another sip of water. All right. Nathan Holton, will you be watching DC League of Super Pets? Yes, I'll be watching that on Monday morning, and the embargo lifts on Tuesday, 5 p.m. BST. I believe that's noon ET and 9 a.m. PT. So check for yourselves, because I'm not too sure. I'm not too good with these mathematics of time zones, but 5 p.m. BST, whatever that is in your time zone, that's when my review of Super Pets will be up. Nathan Holton, why do you think Nope got delayed in the UK? No idea, but it's not just the UK. Apparently, it's most of Europe that it was delayed on. It's a studio seeing that there's more margin for profit in those dates. But yeah. Tobes, I hope that's how we pronounce it. What are some of the best acting performances you have seen on TV over the last 5 years? For me, it would be Nicole Kidman, Alexander Skarsgård, and Shailene Woodley in season 1 of Big Little Lies. Oh, well, Anthony Starr as Homelander is one of them for sure, like 100%. What else in the past 5 years? That's a good question, but like off the top of my head, Oscar Isaac in Moon Knight, but also Oscar Isaac and Jessica Chastain in Scenes from a Marriage, the limited series from last year. It's on HBO. Check it out if you haven't. It's fucking phenomenal. I love it so much. Other than that, on TV, that's such a great question, and I feel bad for not being able to answer off the top of my head. That's a movie. I'm looking at my reviews to see if I catch anything that I'm forgetting, but I honestly can't think of anything else off the top of my head. And I watch a lot of TV. I mean, Lily James and Sebastian Stan in Pam and Tommy were fantastic. Yeah, those are a few off the top of my head because again, it's so much TV. All right. Nate Ackenbauer, member of the channel. Thank you for supporting the channel every month, Nate. Thoughts on the John Wick 4 teaser? Well, I wish I had gotten to your question first because it's a fantastic, fantastic teaser. Just building up to John Wick, preparing himself. Lawrence Fishburne entering. Are you ready, John? Yeah, I'm ready. As you can see, I'm losing my voice because, again, recording so many videos, recording 2 straight videos right before this podcast. That's why I was a little late. We start half an hour early than usual because Zach is not here, so I don't need to wait for him to wake up. But right before that, I was recording for like half an hour. No, almost 40 minutes, give or take. So yeah, my voice is really giving away. Sodium285. Hey, Ren, I hope you have an excellent holiday. Thank you so much, my friend. I'm seeing a Shakespeare play tonight. That's fucking awesome. I read somewhere the title for Avengers 5 was leaked as Avengers Kang War. Do you think this is a good title? I didn't see that. But the titles didn't leak. What leaked was that Marvel filed for trademark of those names. What that means is essentially they now own those names, those terms, and have license to them. So if you want to call your video, your project, your movie, your show, your book, whatever, that name, you can't because now they own it. What I saw leaked was Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty, which is straight out of the comics. Not Kang War, but if they called it Kang War, that's a cool title. But it more so sounds like it's a war between all the Kangs, which would also be interesting. Maybe we see one Kang as the villain and another Kang fighting alongside the Avengers, which also has happened in the comics. Solium285, we're getting a revival of X-Men, the animated series, in the form of X-Men 97. Yes, we are, baby, and it's going to be awesome. Do you think we'll get revivals of other animated shows such as Spider-Man, the animated series, X-Men Evolution, Wolverine and the X-Men, and especially Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes eventually? Spider-Man, the animated series, no, unfortunately I don't. I wish, because that show ends on a massive cliffhanger. With Spider-Man going into the multiverse to find Mary Jane. With Madam Web, by the way. So that'd be interesting, but I don't think we will because we've gotten so many Spider-Man shows since then. We're about to get a new one set in the MCU, so I don't think we're getting that one. I hope I'm wrong, even if it's just for one season to close it out. I hope we do, but fortunately I don't think we will. X-Men Evolution, no, because we're getting a revival for the original and the best X-Men animated series. Wolverine and the X-Men, also no. That show, I really like Wolverine and the X-Men, but it only lasted one season, so producers will look at that and think people didn't care at the time. They won't care now, which, from their perspective, makes total sense, honestly. And especially Earth's Mightiest Heroes. This one, I want to say no, because I don't want to give you or myself false hope, because I love this show so much. Do I think it's impossible, though? I don't think it's impossible. I don't think it's impossible. I think, as of right now, as of where things stand, there is hope to maybe one day get a revival for Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. And I hope we do. Because that cancellation of that show was not because of poor ratings, was not because of poor viewership. That was because they wanted to change the show into something else, which they did, called Avengers Assemble. I didn't really like that show too much. It was fine. It's perfectly watchable, but I didn't care for it too much. Deminician Scott, what do you think of the rumor about Superman at today's Comic-Con? We've discussed that. I hope it's true. I have no insider information, though. Deminician Scott also asks, did I miss anything? No, I did. Did you enjoy Marvel Zombies in the comics? If so, what are your expectations for this series? Also, What If Season 2? I discussed a little bit of What If Season 2. What If Season 1 is the most inconsistent Marvel series in terms of content, because there are some fabulous episodes there. Then there are some episodes that I'm like, why did I waste half an hour of my life watching that, discussing whatever? So it's very inconsistent, but he has some real highs. But I think now in the second series they can really go all crazy, and the ideas they've teased us about when it comes to this season seem to be that creativity going wild. So I'm really excited. I wasn't a big fan of Marvel Zombies in the comics. I was just very tired of zombie stuff by that point. That's why I wasn't excited for the zombie episode of What If. My expectation for the series, I hope it's more like the episode, and not so much gratuitous zombie gore like the comics are. So I have hope. It's just not the thing that I'm going to be naturally most excited about. Sodium 285. Hey Ren, do you read the Boom Studios Power Rangers comics? Yes, I do. I'm not caught up. I'm not up to date, but I do. And so what do you think of the news that Melissa Flores is writing the comic series as announced at SDCC? Not familiar with Melissa Flores, but as long as they keep the series going, so far it's been fantastic. I haven't been disappointed yet, so I hope they keep it going. Lady Aaron, this is kind of running a question, Ren, but may I become moderator for your live chat? Yeah, I'll make you a moderator, since you're here all the time anyway, so yeah. Domination Scott, Ren, is the current plan for Marvel Studios going to turn fans toxic like Star Wars fans that all started with the prequels and Skywalker trilogy? I hope not. I still see a ton of hope and light with that. Sounds cheesy as shit. Within the Marvel fandom, I still think there's a ton of safe spaces within the Marvel fandom. It's just on Twitter that the toxicity comes to the surface. But yeah, I hope not. And I certainly don't see any reason why. And I think, if anything, what happened with the prequels and the Skywalker trilogy and Phantom Menace specifically, which is the first of the prequels, should be a lesson to us all and not really an encouragement to do it again. Sodium 285, hey Rand, would you want Hasbro to one day make an animated Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series? I personally would, and I would like to one day fan cast each voice role for one on my channel. If in that animated series we were allowed to follow the stories from the comics, then yes. I just like Power Rangers as something in live action, because there's nothing like it. But obviously you can never have the budget to do what happens in the comics on the live action stuff. But I think it's possible. I think they should do it, honestly. I think that's a really good idea, especially with the contract they have now with Netflix. That would be something really interesting to pursue on their part. When it comes to voice castings for that one, I mean, fan cast, do it, man. I encourage that. I do a series of fan cast videos myself. I think it's always fun to fan cast. What I would say is, and no offense to Power Rangers actors, because I fucking love Power Rangers, always have, always will. These actors, most of them actually, we've seen exceptions here and there quite in recent years, but most of them don't really ever make it big after Power Rangers, so they could all come back to voice the characters and not be too expensive. We've seen Rose McIver from RPM make it big. She's an iZombie. She's now on a show called Ghosts. We've seen Eka Darville, who was in Jessica Jones, make it big after the series. Didn't we see anyone else kind of make it big, or at least semi-big? I don't think we have. Off the top. Well, there's Lily Hutchinson from Jungle Fury, make it semi-big, and now there Camille Hyde from Dino Charge. She's on a CW show called Homecoming, I think. But other than that, most of them on Emma Lahana, she was in Cloak and Dagger. So probably Rose McIver and Eka Darville were the ones that made it like the biggest. They made the bigger splash. But yeah, outside of them, none of them really made it big, unfortunately. So they can all be within budget to voice their characters if Hasbro does it, which, yes, please, Hasbro, do it. All right. Zeke Gonzalez and Saudi, good friend of the show. It's been a while since I see you, brother. Good to see you here. Who would you cast Matt Smith as in the DCEU? I mean, too late for that. He's not going to be that. But now that I think about it, he'd be a pretty good Reverse Flash. My dream cast for that is still Dan Stevens, though. Still think Dan Stevens would be the best Reverse Flash. Other than that, Matt Smith. He'd also be a good Joker. But that's cast in the DCU and outside of it. Who would I cast? DC villains. Ooh! I didn't have him in my fan cast because I still think Michael Fassbender would be the best choice, but Matt Smith as Mr. Freeze would be pretty cool. Or Brainiac. You know what? Brainiac, I don't think I like, conceptually, I don't think I like anyone better as Brainiac than Matt Smith. Kudos to myself on that one. I don't like to brag, but kudos to myself on that one. Zika Zalzasali also asks, have your Fantastic Four casting opinions changed at all? I don't think we'll get Krasinski or Blunt as Reed and Sue, unfortunately. Now I really want Melissa Benoist as Sue Storm. Conceptually, I don't think I like Melissa Benoist in that role. She still looks and feels like too young for Sue, where I'm not saying Melissa Benoist is not mature. She's a mother. I believe she's already had her child with Chris Wood. Yeah, I don't like Melissa Benoist too much, conceptually at least. But no, my opinions still haven't changed. I think I've gotten accustomed to the idea of Joe Keery maybe being Johnny Storm a little bit more. I still prefer my idea of Lucas Hedges, but if they do a Joe Keery, I think it would be okay. So yeah. Jico EP, but other than that, I really, really like, I still really stand by my choices. And you know what? Matt Smith would also make a pretty damn good Doctor Doom, but still, not the 11th, but the 10th Doctor would be the best. Excuse me, the best Doctor Doom. There we go. Gigo EP, am I the only one who doesn't want Jason Segel as Ben Grimm from rumors I'm hearing? I like him as an actor, but none of his roles to me show me he can pull it off. He just lacks the toughness and grittiness of the character. and it seems like people want him because he's Jewish. I didn't even know he was Jewish. Maybe I haven't seen a role of him. Show me he can pull it off. But when I think of him, I know people think of How I Met Your Mother. Damn right. And Freaks and Geeks. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, but for me, I hear Vector from Despicable Me. Plus, how could the Thing show up in She-Hulk before that? That rumor has no foundation. Doesn't make any sense. I don't necessarily want Jason Segel as Ben Grimm, but I think he'd be a good fit. I'd be like, that's good casting if he was announced. I can recommend Windfall is actually pretty good, and Our Friend, and End of the Tour, particularly End of the Tour and Our Friend show a little bit more of his rawness as an actor, so that you're not necessarily going to see Ben Grimm specifically from what he does in those films, but you're going to see a little bit more of range that can maybe make you buy a little bit better the fact that he could be a good Ben Grimm. The Friend, I believe, is on Prime over there in the United States. So anyone on the chat watching right now, please check for me and let Chico VP know. And I believe End of the Tour may be on Netflix or maybe HBO. I'm not sure, but please, if anyone is watching, if anyone can search for that real quick, let me and Chico VP know. Chico VP, for Marvel Zombies, do you think we'll get most of the actors back to voice the characters, or will they get sound-alike actors, or maybe a bit of both? A bit of both, like they did for What If. I think Iman Vellani can still do it. I think Haley Steinfeld can still do it. Florence Pugh already does voiceover, so there's a good chance of it. Simu Liu, I think Simu Liu will be up for it, and Randall Park as well. Who else is going to be on the hero? Is Red Guardian alive, or is he one of the zombies? I don't remember. But yeah, I think it will be I know I just named all of the ones, like, I think those come back. But if Red Guardian is one of the heroes in the show, I don't know if David Harbour would come back. I just feel like they can get a good sound alike, and maybe he's not a good actor. I think now, instead of being worried about let's get as many of the actors from the movies to voice their characters, I think if it gets too expensive, and if you can get sound-alikes who are actually voice actors and who would do a better voice acting job than some of the actors who are not necessarily good at voice acting, get the best voice actors possible. Don't worry about it being the movies from the actors from the movies or not. Sodium285, I see some people say Peter 2, Tobey Maguire, and Peter 3, Andrew Garfield should be in MCU Spider-Man 4. I disagree. I personally don't think they should. Do you agree with me? If I were to say they should save the other two Peters for an Avengers Secret Wars movie, so that it doesn't become classic Sony sonic imagery and wisps in every... I have no idea what the end... I have no idea what the end of this question is trying to say, Sodium. I apologize for that. But no, I don't think Peter 2 and 3 should be recurring characters, because you have to open the multiverse to bring them in. That, we've established, causes disastrous consequences. I think if you want to bring them in again, you can on a Secret Wars event, because that's an event that opens the multiverse, that brings all different versions of characters together. You have multiple Thors, multiple Caps, multiple Iron Mans, multiple Hulks, multiple Spider-Mans, multiple Captain Marvels, and all that. That's an event where you can do that, because it feels special again. But don't take away what made Spider-Man No Way Home special. It's the fact that within these circumstances, these characters were able to show up in our universe. They're not part of the MCU, they're from some other universe out there, but in this universe, they're not a part of, so they have to be taken away. Let us cherish that. I don't know why people would want them to keep coming back, because that takes away the stakes and what made it special. So yeah. Gigo EP, last question, by the way, I think. Unless, if I don't have another question as I refresh it. Okay, I have 2 more questions. Cool. Gigo EP, which one of the rumors about Marvel Comic Con or D23 you don't think is true? For me, I don't think Amanda Seyfried is going to be Sue Storm, Invisible Woman. Not just because I don't want it, but because she said she wasn't interested in being a superhero movie. I don't remember all the rumors off the top of my head, but I don't think the Blade villain movie, the casting for the Blade villain movie is true. That being said, I also don't want Amanda Seyfried as a Sue Storm, but she said that 10 years ago. She may but she may have changed her mind in 10, well, not 10 years, because Tattoo was 2015, so 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 7 years, still a lot of time, so yeah. But yeah, I don't think the Blade rumor is true. Sodium 285, who do you think should eventually replace Ezra Miller as the Flash in the DCU? It's inevitable, it's straight. It is. I think either Grant Gustin or Dylan O'Brien. Grant Gustin would be great, but he's not going to. Elliot Page has been someone who people have thrown out there, and that would be cool, actually. My number one pick would still be Lucas Still. I don't know if MacGyver has been canceled. I used to watch MacGyver, and it's actually pretty good. But yeah, Lucas Still would be my number one pick to replace Ezra Miller as the Flash. I think he's a very underrated actor that never got to explode, but if they give him a shot, if they cast him, this would be his chance to explode into stardom. All right, last question, also from Sodium 28. Nope, we have a new question. Thank God. Penultimate question from Sodium 285. What in your opinion is the most underrated superhero movie? For me, The Wolverine from 2013. The Wolverine is pretty underrated, but you guys know what I'm going to say. The most underrated superhero movie of all time is also the most underrated movie of all time. That is Masterpiece of Steel, also from 2013. Man of Steel is number 1. Number 2 is the original Thor, directed by Kenneth Branagh. Those are the 2 most underrated superhero movies for me. And let's see if we have anything else. No. Last question then from Eric Thorpe Reviews. Can you picture the Jon Snow series starting out with a Love and Thunder type montage where the bonkers story of Jon Snow in Game of Thrones is recapped comedically by Tormund to wildling children? There are 2 answers for this, Eric Thorpe. Number 1, no. I honestly cannot at all see that happening whatsoever. I think there's minus infinity% chance that this happened. That being said, the other answer for this is, goddamn, I'm going to hate this show now if they don't do that, because you've put the idea into my head, so now I want to see it, because that sounds incredible. That's exactly that's kind of exactly the relationship that Thor and Korg have, is the Tormund and Jon Snow relationship. How did I not see it before, man? Now it's right here in front of my eyes. I can't unsee it. All right, everyone. That is it for This Week in Geek. Now, I don't know if 2 weeks from now we'll be able to have a show, but as of right now, next week, there's no show. Maybe Zach will have a live. Maybe he can do a live stream on his channel. Maybe you can ask him and harass him to do a This Week in Geek all by himself or with a guest on his channel, as I will not be around. In regards to me, however, I won't disappear. Don't worry. There's a ton of reviews coming. I got all the Dragon Ball movies still to review. 7 of those reviews are already recorded, but they still need to be edited, and there's still 7 more movies for me to watch. And also this week, we got Secret Life of Pets, we've got Prey, and I don't know if Bodies, the embargo lifts this week, but the review for that will come as well. I hope you guys are enjoying Comic-Con. I hope we get some really fun news tonight. And again, I'll be here putting up reviews, so I hope you watch those. Go support the Dragon Ball reviews. Talk to me on those. Let's chat in the comments. And thank you so much for joining once again. And so until the next one, maybe 2 weeks from now, maybe 3 weeks from now, love each other.